when the comedian Hasan Minhaj stepped up to deliver his remarks at the White House Correspondents Association dinner on Saturday night. He had known for more than 2 months that President Trump would skip the gala. Samantha Bee, who broadcast her own competing event, called the Not the White House Correspondents' Dinner, on the same night, probably never wanted Mr. Trump there, in the first place. But in the absence of Mr. Trump, who instead gave a rally in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Mr. Minhaj, a correspondent on Comedy Central's Daily Show, and Ms. Bee, the host of TBS's Full Frontal, took a page from the playbook of this president, whose relationship with the news media has been singularly contentious, and vented their spleens at the press. Though the comedians' programs were shown in opposition to each other, they arrived at similar places. Both celebrated the First Amendment, and the freedoms it grants. But they also took sharp aim at the news media, urging reporters to show more integrity and to win back the respect of the American public. "We're living in this strange time where trust is more important than truth," Mr. Minhaj said in his performance at the Washington Hilton Hotel. "And supporters of President Trump trust him. And I know journalists, you guys are definitely trying to do good work. I just think that a lot of people don't trust you right now. And can you blame them? I mean, unlike Anderson Cooper's bone structure, you guys have been far from perfect." Ms. Bee, whose show was recorded on Saturday afternoon at Dar Constitution Hall, made similar observations. Continue reading the main story. Advertisement. Continue reading the main story. With so much excellent reporting out there, why do 96% of Americans believe the media should be strung up by its own bowels? She asked. I don't know, maybe because when they turn on the TV looking for news, all they can find are journalists trying to referee a pack of well-coiffed message robots shouting at each other all day from increasingly tiny boxes. Mr. Minhaj, 31, who described himself as a first-generation Indian-American Muslim kid, arguably had the tougher task of the night. He agreed to appear at the White House Correspondents Association dinner at a time when it has come under renewed criticism for enabling the cozy mingling of reporters and the government officials' THA cover. And Mr. Minhaj lacked the star power of past entertainers like Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers and Jimmy Kimmel. As Mr. Minhaj said at the start of his routine, no one wanted to do this. So of course, it lands in the hands of an immigrant. He added, Don Rickles died just so you wouldn't ask him to do this gig. On Full Frontal, Ms. Bee, 47, a Daily Show alumna, has made an asset of her status as an outsider unwelcome in the boys' club of late-night television. Her counter-dinner, which raised funds for the Committee to Protect Journalists, did not lack for celebrity support. It included appearance from Allison Janney, Steve Buscemi, Patton Oswalt and Will Ferrell, who dusted off the impersonation of President George W. Bush he perfected on Saturday Night Live for the occasion. As Mr. Bush, Mr. Ferrell also took the press to task. You guys would always sneak up on me with gotcha questions like, why are we going to war? Gotcha. Why did you not respond to Hurricane Katrina? Gotcha. What is your middle name? Gotcha. He added, I just wish someone had told me that all you have to say is, fake news, over and over again. The White House Correspondents' event had sincere speeches from the journalists Carl Bernstein and Bob Woodward, and the briefest of taped messages from Alec Baldwin, who regularly impersonates Mr. Trump on SNL. Ms. Bee and Mr. Minhaj both had plenty of barbs about Fox News, which has been roiled by the exits of Roger E. Ailes, its chairman, and Bill O'Reilly, its top-rated host, amid allegations of sexual harassment. Mr. Minhaj described Mr. O'Reilly's reported $25 million severance package as the only package he won't force a woman to touch. Ms. Bee said, turns out, it's bad business to have your flagship show hosted by 400 pounds of sexual harassment allegations in a 200-pound bag. But Mr. Minhaj delivered perhaps the stronger and more poignant closing summation. Even though Mr. Minhaj said he had been told not to mock Mr. Trump or his administration in absentia, he felt he had a duty to get on this stage and make fun of the president. But the president didn't show up, Mr. Minhaj said, because Donald Trump doesn't care about free speech. The man, who tweets everything that enters his head, refuses to acknowledge the amendment that allows him to do it. A few hours from now, Mr. Minhaj said, Donald Trump will be tweeting about how bad Nicki Minaj bombed at this dinner. And he'll be doing it completely sober. And that's his right. And I'm proud that all of us are here tonight to defend that right, even if the man in the White House never would. After thanking the White House Correspondents Association, and thanking Mr. Woodward and Mr. Bernstein for inspiring a generation of journalists, Mr. Minhaj concluded by saying, I would like to thank Donald Trump for inspiring the next